Who should really consider the EATON 9PX3000RT 9PX 3000VA UPS? Who can safely walk away? And does the price actually make sense for a typical office or small lab setup? That's the question I get asked a lot because a UPS sounds simple on paper, just keep the lights on, but in real life it can mean the difference between a smooth shutdown and a day-long data loss nightmare. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. Let's dig into the everyday decision points, because buying the wrong UPS is a waste of money and an unnecessary risk. First off, let's talk about the environment where a 3000VA unit lands. Most people who browse a UPS like this are running a handful of servers, a network switch, maybe a small rack of workstation-type PCs, and a couple of storage devices. In that kind of setting, you're not looking for a massive data center-grade solution, but you do need enough runtime to finish closing applications, backup files, and power down safely. The EATON 9PX3000RT sits in the middle of the market, big enough to handle roughly 23 kilowatts of equipment, but compact enough to fit into a standard 42U rack without hogging precious space. If you're a freelancer with a single workstation and a monitor, that amount of capacity is overkill. A 600800VA unit would be more cost-effective. On the flip side, if you're running a small server farm with higher draw, you might need a 5 kVA model or a parallel configuration, because the 3000VA will start to struggle once you push past 2.5 kW for longer than a few minutes. What really matters after the box is opened is how the UPS behaves under load. The EATON 9PX uses a true double conversion topology, meaning the incoming AC is first turned into DC, then back into a clean sine wave. The practical upside of that is you get a stable output even when the input power is wobbly. Think of those office buildings that flicker when an elevator starts or a large freezer cycles. In my testing, the double conversion kept the attached servers humming without any hiccup the moment the utility power went out. That stability comes at a price, though. Double conversion draws a bit more from the batteries during an outage, which in turn reduces the total runtime compared to a line interactive UPS of the same VA rating. If you prioritize maximum backup minutes over absolute power quality, a line interactive model might give you a few extra minutes of runtime for the same price. Another practical strength is the built-in LCD that actually tells you what's happening. Many UPS units hide inside a blank panel, forcing you to rely on third-party software that can be finicky. The 9PX's display shows input voltage, load percentage, battery charge, and an estimated runtime. That immediate feedback lets a sysadmin quickly verify that the unit isn't overloaded before a power event hits. It also has a removable battery pack, which is a convenience for those who need to replace the battery without pulling the whole device out of the rack. The downside? The LCD menu isn't the most intuitive. You have to navigate through several submenus to get to the deeper settings, and the firmware isn't updatable via a simple USB click. For an IT team used to remote management, this could add a few minutes of learning curve, especially if you need to set the UPS to shut down specific devices in a precise order. Speaking of remote management, the 9PX includes a network card slot. You can add an Ethernet interface and integrate it with EATON's Intelligent Power Manager (IPM) software, or with third-party SNMP tools. In real-world deployments, that means you can have the UPS send an email when battery capacity falls below 20%, or you can script a graceful shutdown across multiple servers. The trade-off is that you have to purchase the network card separately if you want that functionality, adding a modest extra cost. If you're fine with the basic USB connection to a single server, you'll miss out on the broader monitoring capabilities that larger IT shops typically rely on. Now let's address value. The headline spec of 3000VA at a price that hovers around the mid-four-figure mark can feel steep if you're only protecting a small office. The true value comes from the combination of double conversion, modular battery design, and EATON's reputation for reliability. In environments where uptime is non-negotiable, like a medical imaging workstation or a financial transaction server, the peace of mind that a proven UPS will not let the output voltage dip below tolerance is worth the extra dollars. For a standard home office, however, the price starts to feel less justified, especially when you could achieve comparable protection with a cheaper line interactive unit that still offers basic battery backup. what about practical weaknesses? The first thing users notice is the weight. At roughly 70 kilograms, the unit is not something you want to yank in and out of a rack on a whim. If you anticipate moving your equipment around often, say, for a co-working space that reconfigures layout frequently, the 9PX can become a logistical headache. Additionally, the UPS draws about 5 W from the mains just to